kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
It's been a long season, but we are here at the final round at Watkins Glen. And what a round, what a race to cap things off. For season 2, we're here with Endurance for Amateurs. Then a race at one of the most iconic tracks in the world. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. My name is Sam Conventer, here with you from ESPN. And joining me in the booth once again to bring you this finale is one Mr. Byron Rodney. And Byron, we've missed you the last couple of weeks, but you're back here for the finale, and it's going to be a good one.
Oh, It's going to be a great one. Don't think I haven't been around. I ain't been paying attention. Tonight, we're going to figure out a GTE champion. And it's a 3-point difference between your class leader, Dennis Diaz, and your fastest practice lap, Terry Calgar Jr. 3 laps. Welcome, everybody, to Watkins Glen International Raceway here at the base of the Finger Lakes region of New York State in the beautiful U.S. of A.
The only correction I can give you right there, Byron, is that it's only 2 points separating Dennis Diaz and Terry Calgar Jr. Paul Skip, unfortunately, fallen out of the running last week, and due to the drop weeks coming into play. Tony Watson in P4 right now in GTE, and then you got Brad Mccoombs, Tyler Langenberg, Ryan Tyler, Oleg Vorotniak, Mark Dillon Jr., and Jesse Brannon running out your top 10. You got Safe Fairies, who can't decide which class he wants to be in at the moment. Robert Garcia in P12, Christopher Craig, who I believe should make it to the race before this switch over to we get to the race. He's in 13th right now. Sorry. We're
missing some other names. I'm sorry. I noticed Vorotniak's not here tonight.
That's been the normal MO for Vorotniak lately, but should make it eventually, as I'm just looking through the I'm just fixing something right now, so just bear with me as practice about to begin.
Qualifying getting underway here.
Oh, yeah, qualifying.
And I have got my eyes focused on 2 cars in GTE qualifying. Right now, I'm taking a look at the 420 MW and one Mr. Dennis Diaz, 2-point leader in the class, as he is now working his outlap here at Watkins Glen. Now, if you're familiar with Watkins Glen, you see the NASCAR Cups. They run around this track a lot, but they don't do what we call the boot. Sam, you want to describe it about the boot? What makes it different about running the boot?
Well, the boot is the extended endurance part of the track, where it's basically so normal, like normal. I like to use air quotes. Normal cars like to run around, so they can run around it. The Formula One Championship, when they came here, ran on the boot section and had a good time there. And we have the IMSA Championship, when they do the 6 hours of the Glen, they run there as well as various other series. The only time that a series uses the short section of the track is when NASCAR comes here.
Yep, NASCAR not really wanting to get around on that long boot part, but I'm taking a look. Dennis Diaz was the first one out of the track. Terry Calgar Jr. right now is exiting the boot, heading up the hill to the exit of the boot, and they're going to be taking hot laps. And in practice, they were only 0.7 of a second separation, with Calgar getting the advantage.
Yeah, before we continue, we're going to take a look at the GT3 Championship. Now, that was sewn up a couple of weeks ago, but Michael Mccoy not here again tonight, but he'll be here at the end to talk about his championship and what he hopes to achieve in GTE next season. Paul Boyle, who picked up his first ever win last week, is in second. Then you got Rex Hoyle, Keith Roycroft, Zachary Nurnberger, Daniel Barnett, Marcus Osborne, Matthew Lemoncelli, who we've not seen since round 4, still able to get in 8th place in the championship, so he should lose a couple more spots after tonight. Dave Ferrara in P9 and Safe Fairies, who again still can't decide which class he wants to be in P10. So GT3 already wrapped up here, Byron, but like you said, GTE still yet to be decided to be between this man, Dennis Diaz, and one Mr. Terry Calgar Jr.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz is on his first hot lap right now. They get 2 laps of qualifying. They got 10 minutes to get it done, which is plenty of time for him to get out and run a perfect lap. You got to hit all your corners, hit all your braking zones, hit all your shift points, get it right, put together the perfect lap, and you're looking for the top speed, because let's face it, track position is going to be key. There's a few overtaking areas here on the track, but there's not that many, especially through those high-speed S's. And then we have the all-encompassing watch out for lap traffic as the GTE class comes up on the GT3, so they're going to have to negotiate that as well.
Yeah, so we do have a bit of a stuttering issue on our screens right now. We do apologize for that. We are working on it, so we will get it fixed as quickly as possible. So Byron, just call out the qualifying while I quickly get that fixed.
Well, here's the surprise. Paul Skip laid down the fast lap of 1:42.722, and the minute I leave that out of my mouth, Tyler Langenberg goes to the top of the heat. Dennis Diaz is in third place in qualifying right at the moment. Have yet to see Calgar put a lap up on there. As just as I say that, well, he's still out on the track. He must have gotten off, as it looks like he is just heading up the S's for his second hot lap. Must have took an off track. If you get an off track here, your qualifying time is disallowed and you're down in the line. Bryce Anderson, a 1:42.270 in the GTE class, fast qualifier. Taking a look at GT3, Rex Hoyle on the top of the pile with a 1:48.694, followed by Paul Boyle with a 1:48.838. Daniel Barnett is third. Fourth going to Danny Sullivan. Dave Ferrara with the fifth fastest GT3 time. And Timothy Emanuel is slopping it up on the board in fifth with a 1:50.063, as the GT3s are now making their qualifying runs out here tonight. Going back to my GTE class to see how this is going to shape out. Bryce Anderson still on the top of the pile with a 1:42.270.
Is
Louis Colomb.
Yeah, Louis Cologne, who had that great run at Daytona a couple of weeks ago. Didn't have such a... he had a good run at Nürburgring last week. Still keeping it up there as Dennis Diaz could only manage third place. Wow.
Yeah, and I just noticed sneaking in onto the grid just before qualifying, about halfway over, Christopher Craig looks like he made it into the GTE class tonight.
He did. He actually joined the right class this time, so... And I'm not going to let him live that one down as long as I live. So,
no, Terry Calgar Jr. only able to score a fourth place qualifying slot with a 1:42.462, right behind Dennis Diaz in third. So they're going to have some traffic to work on. Remember, this isn't just for the class victory for the race. This is for the championship between Dennis Diaz and Terry Calgar Jr., and only 2 points separate them. And what's 2 points, Sam? 2 places on the track. So if Dennis Diaz finishes and then another car behind Dennis and then Terry Calgar Jr. will have a tie in points, and the tiebreaker, unfortunately, is going to go to the most race wins, and that will fall in the hands of Dennis Diaz. Terry Calgar Jr. needs to finish this race 2 places ahead of Dennis Diaz wherever they are in the field.
Yeah, we've got a couple of GTE drivers having horrid times at the moment. No more so than this man, Jesse Brannan. Can only manage a 1:47.676. Now, the interesting thing, you can see it on the screen right here. That's actually slower than the top GT3 guy, and that's Keith Roycroft. So Brannan having a horrid time out there right now. Actually back there with the GT3 runners.
Yeah, well, it all boils down to how much practice time are you putting in on these tracks during the week? Because let's face it, Sam, you need to put together perfect laps in qualifying. Now, we keep talking about the endurance racing. You don't need to have the fastest car on the track, but you need to have the most consistent. And the only way you're going to get consistent laps on this thing is to put in the time behind the wheel during practice. Now, knowing, with that being said, our GTE championship is still up for grabs, and then Terry Calgar Jr. put in this week for this race.
You gotta think that they've put a lot of practice in. Obviously, both of them very capable of winning. Well, very, very, very capable of winning this race. I believe Terry Calgar Jr. came very close to winning it last time we were here last season. So it's going to be up in the air as to who is going to claim the victory here tonight. One driver who is paying tribute to somebody right now is this man at the moment, Mr. Mackenzie Johnson. And I'm just going to take a quick look at the back of his car. Not that one. Not that one either. That one. And I apologise for the unprofessionalism right now, but we're going to take a quick look at the back rear of... Oh, we're not. Are we? There we are. Paying tribute to his mother. It says R.I.P. Squirrely. And she passed away a couple of days ago. So thoughts and prayers going out to Mackenzie Johnson and his family at this time. Can't focus on him too long though, unfortunately, because his connection issues. He's having a lot of connection issues right now as Tyler Vickery just absolutely pounded the wall after his qualifying run.
Tyler Vickery snuck in here tonight. I didn't see him in there.
Absolutely, as there goes Christopher Craig. He's only going to get P13 in his qualifying run so far. I believe he has another lap, but is he going to make it round in time, because we are in the final minute of qualifying. And we have 28 drivers here tonight, which is very impressive. Make it 29 because Mackenzie Johnson hasn't put a time in yet.
A lot of drivers going to race Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is a very popular track. We're very familiar with it personally, both as drivers and as broadcasters. I love this track. It is such a fast-moving, high-paced, flowing track. It's got some hard braking areas where you can make some passes. Look for that main passing opportunity to be in going into turn one and to be heading into the bus stop and out of the bus stop. Places you don't want to get caught behind traffic, Sam, that's going to be going up the S's at high speed, because if you're a faster class, you're not going to be able to want to get around them. It's tough to pass through the S's.
Absolutely. But now we are done with qualifying. We are about to head into qualifying, into the race, sorry. And that means we get to look at our grid for tonight's race, and starting with GTE. Starting up on the pole will be one Mr. Bryce Anderson. He'll be joined on the front row by Luis Colon. On row 2 will be the championship contenders, Dennis Diaz, and he'll be alongside Terry Carragher Jr. Tyler Langenberg on row 3 with Paul Skip, with row 4 going to Mark Dillon Jr. and Cody Atkins. Row 5 will be Brad Mccoombs and Robert Garcia. Row 6 will be Ryan Tyler and Tony Watson, and bringing up the rear in GTE will be Christopher Craig and Jesse Brannon.
Yeah, GT3, we're going to see Keith Roycroft leading the parade for them, followed by Paul Boyle. He's going to take that second starting spot. Third goes to Dallas Sullivan. Fourth is Zachary Nurnberger. Tyler Vickery qualified fifth. Rex Hoyle, followed by Lynn Kopp, Jeff Watt, Daniel Barnett, Dave Ferrara, Timothy Emanuele. He's going to roll off with Gary Schilling right to his side. Alan Dice second. Don't forget Atticus Middleton, and not getting a qualifying time, but getting in here, Mackenzie Johnson. And our heart goes out to Mackenzie Johnson, who it looks like a packet loss just got him on the server.
Yeah, he's unfortunately running off his laptop here tonight, so that's the reason for the connection issues. But the field now rolling. We are ready to go racing.
90 minutes of the Glen. 1.5 hours of endurance racing. I did not get a chance to talk to the drivers about how far we're going to make it on a tank of fuel. We'll find that out. And our tires going to be a factor in here. Are we going to go double stint, triple stint like we've been seeing? Time will tell. We'll see what the strategy is. And don't forget the race within the race between Dennis Diaz starting third and Terry Carragher Jr. starting fourth.
Yeah, and that is for championship honours here tonight. And again, I do apologise for the technical issues here tonight. We are having a few stuttering issues. Not really sure.
It's the internet. It happens.
Yeah. This happens to me a lot more often than normal. But we'll get it fixed. Next time we take a commercial break, we'll have it all fixed for you right there. But right now, we have a big race on our hands. GT3 already settled, but we will keep focus on these guys because they put on some fantastic racing last week at the Nürburgring, and I'm sure they'll put some more great performances on tonight. One new driver in the field for tonight in GT3. That's Jeff Wyatt in the Ferrari, and that is the only new driver we have in the field. Alan Dice is back in the field as well. Gary Schilling is there as well in that green Mercedes, and it looks like Mackenzie Johnson is not going to make it back into the session in time, unfortunately.
Now, and then if you take a look back behind you, behind this GT3 E-Class it's running, Just now entering the bus stop, the GT3 class, led by Keith Roycross. Single file start tonight. I look for probably about 4 laps in. We're going to see some cars doing some overtaking, and Terry Calgar Jr. and Dennis Diaz, fighting for a championship, are going to have to tiptoe around the slower classes tonight.
Absolutely. As we've got a few people in the chat right now. Fernando de Oliveira, good to see you out there. Good to see you in the chat, dude, and hopefully we'll see you back out on the track in the near future, as we've got them coming out of the boot section right now, and we are ready to go racing here. Byron, why don't you get us? No, they're not coming out of the boot section. I'm sorry, they're coming through that was the GT3 section, the class. I am
now they're starting to come.
Yeah, they're coming up towards the exit of the boot. And Byron, it's time for you to get us going here tonight. Big incidents going on already. Full start of this race, and well, I kind of missed the start of the race.
Craig.
Yeah, Christopher Craig having an incident there as the GT3 field gets rolling right now.
Yeah, GT3, they better watch out. Oh, yeah, Christopher Craig punted a car. There's going to be a couple getting towed to the pit lane. GT3 getting it underway.
Oh, it looks like
Keith Roycroft. Sorry.
It looks like Terry Calgar Jr. was in an incident as well, was part of that incident. We're going to take a look and see what happened to Christopher Craig. And oh, it all really kicked off, and oh, wow. And Terry Calgar Jr. was part of that one, so the championship is pretty much slipped away already for the driver of the number 911. Let's take a little look at that. He got into it with Tyler Langenberg on the start, got sideways, came back upon the track, and everybody was able to avoid him. The only one that wasn't a bit, well, everyone able to avoid him, but the other driver that they couldn't avoid was Cody Atkins. He went out, he got launched out of the track.
Yeah, Terry Calgar Jr. has got some serious work ahead of him if he wants to catch back up to this field, as Bryce Anderson has still got the field in tow. Louis Colon. Now, we talked about Louis Colon. Louis Rivera Colon, he's impressed me as a driver, the races that I've seen in Coliseum. He just needs to get that mental part of it down to keep up the good work, but don't look now. Who is right on the rear bumper of Cologne, going ahead to make the move, almost going into the bus stop, one Mr. Dennis Diaz.
Yeah, and this is a battle we've been looking forward to between these two. Cologne has been showing a lot of pace since he joined in at Daytona, and now, and for the first time, we're seeing these two battle it out. Well, not for the first time, actually, because they did have a decent battle at Daytona as well. And Diaz not able to keep up with Cologne right now.
Yeah, sorry, I was just answering a message in chat about racing. These guys here, they put on one heck of a show. Bryce Anderson got the GTE field in tow. You go back and take a look at our GT3 class. They are bunched up. I'm seeing some passing going on, entering the bus stop, and that is some bold side-by-side racing going into the bus stop by one Mr. Tyler Vickery.
Vickery on a charge and already looking to the inside of Zachary Nürnberger as they come down towards the entrance of the boot, and through that section Nürnberger has the inside line, but Vickery able to cross him over, and now again has the outside line going into the heel of the boot, or is it the toe of the boot? I don't know, really know, I can't really tell, as they come up, and they're still side by side coming down the stretch.
Yeah, Tyler not wanting to give this up, getting really aggressive in this. He is just, he was a late season addition to the GT3 class, but he sure as heck has made his presence known in the 324 machine, as he's letting them know, hey, I'm going to be around for this for a bit.
Yeah, yes, he likes this series and wants to have a good challenge. Got a great second place in GT3 last week. We'll be looking to build on that this time round, and he's already going the right way about it. He's dispatched Zachary Nürnberger, and now we'll be looking to try and catch Paul Boyle, who's in second place right now, 2.1 seconds up the road.
Yeah, Paul Boyle, we've seen him do nothing but solid performances race after race, week after week. I look for him to be up there towards the front of this thing when it's all said and done. Going back to the GTE class, back at the front of the field, Bryce Anderson's still in charge, but Cologne's fallen back a bit. Dennis Diaz, he was charging on Luis Rivera Cologne, but he just looks like he's fallen off a little bit, starting to fall back into the clutches of one Tyler Langenberg.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to take a quick commercial break here, ladies and gentlemen, while we get the issues fixed. We'll be right back in just a second.
Well, Welcome back, folks. Technical difficulties solved. We found the internet's problem. We kicked its behind, and we are back live right here at Endurance for Amateurs here at Watkins Glen. But while we were gone, some things did happen. Bryce Anderson, who was your race leader, had some issues out on the track. He's fallen all the way back to P9. Luis Rivera Colon is putting on a clinic in the GTE class. He is out in front of Dennis Diaz by 2.5 seconds, and that lead is starting to grow. Tyler Langenberg, you got to go another 2.5 seconds back to find him in third, followed by Brand Mccoombs. Rounding out the top 5 in GTE is going to be Paul Skip. Rolling down to the GT3 class, I'm sorry. Nothing new there. Keith Roycroft, he's out in command. He's got like 2.5 second lead over the hard charger of the field. Surprise, surprise. Started 5th in the class. Is up to second already, Tyler Vickery. You got to go another 3 seconds back to find Paul Boyle holding down a strong third on an island by himself. Lynn Kopp's running 4th in GT3, followed by Rex Hoyle rounding out your top 5.
Yeah, it's good to see Lynn Kopp back in the field as well. Hasn't been around all season as Lynn Kopp actually runs wide through the left-hander towards the final part of the boot. Lynn Kopp, good to see him out there. As Tony Watson's had an incident, a big incident. That's Bryce Anderson has been involved with as well.
Bryce Anderson not having the race he's been looking for tonight. He's leading this whole crowd out in clean air. You know, just having some mental mistakes around some of the corners. Caught the curb a couple of times, caught the grass a couple of other times, got the car sideways, dialed it back straight, but he's lost a lot of track position. Yeah, and that started with Bryce Anderson and Robert Garcia. So it looked like Anderson and Garcia got into it, and then Watson had nowhere to go. And I'm so glad he finally figured it out. But Tony Watson has finally got that Brumos Porsche paint scheme exactly how it should look. He got the custom numbers sorted, so thank goodness for that. That Brumos Porsche looking absolutely fantastic. Yeah, taking a look at Terry Calder Jr., who had that opening lap mishap, where the guys, I talked about it pre-race, Sam, before we got going, man. You need to be careful going through those S's, and that's where the accident happened for Terry Calder Jr. The back end of that car, that wing is awful askew. Fast repair is going to have to be used when he brings it in for his pit cycle. He's running 35 seconds off the leader's pace, which puts him, 32 seconds behind Dennis Diaz right now. Yeah, and that is a big problem for Terry Calder Jr. He did not want the start that he wanted, but he's back up and running again, and who knows what can happen in this race. Diaz could have problems, you never know. And look at the traffic. He's having to work that traffic. Yeah, but look at the gap between Diaz and Colon now. It was 2 seconds. It's now 0.2 of a second as they come through the final part of the boot now. So it's race on for the race lead in GTE as they're coming across a plethora of GT3 cars right now. Yep, and remember, I talked about that also. This track is a fast-moving track, and there's spots that you want to make your passes, and there's spots you don't want to be behind a slower class. And it looks like Luis Colon got caught at that slower class as they're trying to get out of the leader's way. They know that there's a race going on for this race win. Luis Colon started to leg it back out over Dennis Diaz again. Yeah, but how long will that be a thing for? Because Diaz, you know, he likes to be patient. As Tyler Langenberg, damage and all on his car, he's going to bring it down to pit road from 3rd place. Yeah, he might be making the early pit stop to try to get, the biggest undercut that he can, or he might need to get some repairs done on that thing. Yeah, as he's not taking a fast repair, he's actually staying in pit road and just getting an early pit stop out of the way. One driver that fell out of the running for the championship last week was Paul Skip. He's there in P4 right now, promoted after Langenberg took it down pit road. He is currently chasing down Brad Mccombs as they come through the carousel, just trying to get their way around Lynn Kopp right now. And just ahead of Lynn Kopp in P7, that's Dave Ferrara in the pink and white Lamborghini as well. First time we've mentioned him tonight. Yeah, Dave Ferrara not having a bad run. As I go check the scoreboard on my GT3 class, he's up 5 positions so far from where he started. Going 1 lap down. behind Timothy Emanuele in that class. Keith Roycroft still having the command of GT3.
Yeah, it's actually, Ferrari is actually on the same lap as Emanuele. I think it's seen him one lap down from the GTE class.
They're on, they are one lap down, same lap, sorry.
Yeah, but Lincop is still right behind him as we're seeing. That was Paul Skip and Brad Mccombs going around. Now Mark Dillon Jr., who's in an identical Porsche to Bryce Anderson. Just coming out of the final turn, just trying to make his way around. As we got one in pit road, that's Zachary Nürnberger coming down pit road as well now.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if this isn't some these guys actually sat and did the math. Okay, how many times have we seen road course races to where you figure your fuel stops backwards? So the minute that pit window opens from going backwards in this, you want to be the first car to make your last stop to get that undercut to work right.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're seeing Zachary Nürnberger in pit road. He's just come off the jacks and he's back down again. I think he took tyres there in the 32. So interesting strategy choice for him as we've got a battle here for P8 right now. That's between Bryce Anderson and Tony Watson, and Watson just loses out there. Bryce Anderson forcing the issue through the bus stop and taking it away.
Yeah, that's an aggressive move. Talk about that bus stop, Sam. We've seen those chicane kinks. This bus stop, you're coming into a right, left, left, right. But this one moves a little faster than the average bus stop on the road courses. If you don't get it right and you don't hit those curbs just right, you're going to upset the suspension of this car or snap see you by off into the dust.
Yeah, as already Tony Watson probably feeling a bit of that damage on the front end of his car, just losing ground on Bryce Anderson. But Anderson has been fast tonight. He got it on the pole, just unfortunate while we were away fixing our technical issues. He had an incident which put him back further in the field, and he's just recently had that incident with Robert Garcia as well, who's still ahead of him, by the way, currently sitting P7. Ryan Tyler, not spoken about him yet tonight. He's currently sitting last drive, just outside the top 5, trying to chase down Mark Dillon Jr. for 5th place, as we've got another incident for Christopher Craig here. Craig in a lot of trouble here tonight.
Craig's already he's already off a lap. We saw him he was part of that big melee at the opening lap of this thing. Got it righted, got it repaired, got it back out on the road, but he is way down on track position. He's just out there logging the laps, trying to make up as he can, hoping that attrition starts to really take hold as this thing heats up. Speaking of heating up, going back to the front of this GTE class, Dennis Diaz is caught back up to Luis Rivera-Colom.
Yeah, the gap about half a second between the two right now as they come into the boot section of the track. They've got to go 5.5 seconds over Brad Mccombs, who currently sits in 3rd place at the moment. And definitely having a good one here tonight is Cologne and Diaz. And Diaz won't be too bothered about winning this one tonight. He is already comfortably, and if things stay as they are, will be a 2-time champion after this one is all said and done.
Yeah, but let's face it, we know Dennis Diaz. Do you really see him backing off and letting someone else take a victory? No, his competitiveness is going to get the best of him, and you're going to see a hard-charging Dennis Diaz. I'll bet you anything he is actually pushing his best, as most as he can right now. It's just Luis Rivera-Colom's got this track really figured out.
That he has, and you know what? If he can pick these up week in and week out, Cologne might actually be a big contender to Dennis Diaz next season. And with Michael McCoy moving up to GTE as well next season, should be a nice little challenge for Diaz as well. So GTE is just going to get more and more competitive with the more drivers moving over.
Speaking of competitive, let's take a look at our GT3 class. The leader right now, Keith Roycroft, he had about a 4-second lead on the field when we were checking last. But don't look now, Tyler Vickery started from the 5th position up to the 2nd position in GT3 and chopping ever so slightly that lead out of Keith Roycroft right now. And Tyler might be thinking undercut when it comes pit cycle time.
Yeah, and you can't really blame him. Vickery is a very good road course driver. We know that from first-hand experience. He's a very valuable asset for VSM Racing. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a VSM paint scheme on him. He has an Apex Racing paint scheme on him, so that's partly.
You won't hold that against him for now.
Well, that's partly down to me not getting a paint scheme done for him. So we'll manage.
Okay, so everyone send your ding kicks to Sam Cooper Bennett.
Cork Island, PO Box 0U812.
Yes.
Also, shout out to Tony Trapasso, who's in the hospital right now after being tested positive for COVID-19. So hopefully, Tony, you get a speedy recovery and you'll be back with us soon.
He'll be back with us as we start making our reports in about 4 weeks' time from Dirt Week in Oswego and Williamsport, New York.
Yeah.
Live dirt racing.
As we've just seen an off-track for Lynn Kopp, just went straight on at the bus stop chicane, and I think there's a bit rusty there, a bit of rustiness there for Lynn Kopp. He's not been in, he's not raced with this league for quite a number of weeks, and it showed there, right? It showed there at that moment.
Well, we keep talking about, conditioning, learning the track, keeping everything, pointed in the right direction. As Lynn Kopp gets around, I believe, is that Atticus? No, Lynn Kopp bringing it into pit lane. But, you have to be mentally prepared for this thing. And it's an hour and a half. Normally, mental fatigue starts kicking in probably, we're coming up on a half hour into this race with about an hour to go. Usually it's about another 20 minutes. And guys start making those mental mistakes. They miss their braking points. They miss their apexes. And that's where you start seeing the off tracks, and that's where you see guys starting to take advantage of one another.
Absolutely. As we go back to the lead battle right now, Luis Colon is doing everything he can to keep Dennis Diaz right behind him, and Diaz pushing him all the way, trying to force that mistake out of that Porsche driver. But Colon has been steady. He's been very able to keep him at bay as things stand right now. So
I think Cologne's driving a masterful race. If by watching the line that he keeps running around this track, he's not paying attention to his rearview mirror at all. He's running his race line, and he is going to force Dennis Diaz, if he wants to make a move, he's going to have to try a different line. He's not going to yield the one that he's running, which he doesn't have to. So he's not paying attention to what's behind him. And Dennis Diaz, a little mistake here and a little mistake there, and it cost him a 10th here and a 10th there, and he's got to catch that back up.
Yeah, he just needs to relax, though. The bigger picture is at hand right here. The championship is his if things can stay as they are. But we'll see. I'm looking at my time in the scoring right now. Cowger is on an absolute charge as he passes Jesse Brannon round the outside through the final corner. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, that's where the car really wants to dance on that rear suspension and get loose. That was a bold and gutsy move for the driver of the 911 Porsche with the bent wing and all, waiting for that first pit stop to get that pass prepared so he can get his aerodynamics back up to check where he needs to be.
And already he's starting to eat into the gap between himself and Tony Watson. He's got Christopher Craig shadowing him from behind, and Craig has picked up the pace as well. He's finally got the car underneath him now and looking to gain a few more spots. He is slowly making his way back through the GT3 field. He's he's just gone around Dave Ferrara, and his next target will be Timothy Emanuele a bit further up the road. So
boy, that is some hard passing to do, coming through the carousel, heading off to the boot. To go around a slower class car right there, you got to make the move, because otherwise you lose all your momentum through the carousel. But darn, that's a tricky place to do it.
That it is. And I hate to blow my own trumpet, but that is a beautiful paint scheme on Christopher Craig's car.
Yeah, I wonder where that came from.
My box of crayons.
That's the one that's in the VSM room that everyone talks about that no one's allowed to touch because, hey, Sam doesn't share well with others.
Now, to be fair, Tony does paint the stock cars better than I do, so we'll leave the stock cars to Tony. But anyway, looking at a battle for P3 right now between Brad Mccombs and Paul Skip. Paul Skip in the JPS Porsche and Brad Mccombs in the System X number 23. Corvette has Skip taking a bit of a wider line coming out of the carousel there.
Now, it surprises me. The Porsche is usually a little more nimble going through there, but that Corvette is just getting the power down on a corner exit and leading the way out.
Yeah, and a few more messages in the live chat right there. Cody C responding to the incident that happened earlier to Cody Atkins. That vet went up to Narnia. Yeah, it kind of did. It kind of, well, let's just put it this way. It got punted up into, well off the track.
Well, he didn't need a driving license. He needed a pilot's license for as much altitude as that thing got.
Yeah, he did. And unfortunately, Cody Atkins out of this race now. Alan Dice out, and Mackenzie Johnson unfortunately able to make the start, as we've got one in pit road, and Brad Mccoombs in pit road for an early pit stop.
Well, Brad Mccoombs looking for the undercut. Let me see if I can get my eyeballs on him and see what he does.
Another message in the live. Sorry, carry on.
No, he brings it down. He's looking for his pit stall right now, running at that pit speed. Brings it in, gets it to a stop. Fuel going on board. I'm watching to see if he gets any tires, or if this is a fuel-only stop for the number 23, Brad Mccombs.
Now looking at a replay of Dave Ferrara having a big hit on the through the chute down into the boot, and we've got a big incident going on here. Terry Calgar Jr. involved in this as well. Let's go and take a look at live pictures right now. Terry Calgar Jr. in big trouble. I thought he was in big trouble because I saw a lot of red on my screen. Let's take a look and see what happened here. Gary Schilling had a bit of a crash. He went off at the final two corners. And Terry Calgar Jr. had a crash as well. Let's see what happened to him here.
Terry almost had another one.
And he's just repaired that car as well, so he kind of needs to not do that.
Yeah, Atticus Middleton spinning it right in front of him. Atticus needs to pay attention to cars coming around the corner. Otherwise, it could be bad, but he gets it righted and going pointed the right direction.
Yeah, the young man and the number 107 just unaware that Calgar was there, as Dennis Diaz pits from second place.
Well, it answers my question. The first pit cycles coming in around lap 19.
Yeah. So Diaz in. GT3 race leader in. That's Keith Roycroft in pit road. So he's had to bring it in now. Will Tyler Vickery be looking for the overcut here? He stayed out one more lap more than Roycroft.
Yeah, I figured, Tyler might want to cover him on that pit stop. But Tyler, if he feels they're not going to take tires, he feels that he's turning fast laps and he's got enough go fast left in the tank, may as well keep it out on the track, see how far he can leg it. Because those tires, even if you don't change tires in the pits, they're going to take a temperature cycle. And guys wanting to pit are also wanting to get out of traffic and get back, off of their pit cycle into clean track conditions. Well, right now, Tyler's having a battle going on in front of him to get for a position.
That's actually not for a position. That is actually putting a lap on Dave Ferrara right now. Ferrara having to repair his car after a big hit a couple of laps ago. So Ferrara now going a lap down in GT3. We've had another retirement here, and we showed it on a replay. Gary Schilling has put it on the hauler. He's the next retirement to join Alan Dice and Cody Atkins. Obviously Mackenzie Johnson unable to start the race. So a lot of things going on here, and at the moment Diaz is in the prime position here. Just made his pit stop. He's rejoined in P5. He knows that everybody else in front of him still has to pit, and he has one hand on the trophy as we are only 35 minutes into this race.
Yeah, and Tyler Vickery keeping it out there for another lap. He's going to make that BMW. He's looking for the bottom of that fuel tank then.
That he is. And Luis Colon is, he's going to be looking to cover off that that pit stop from Dennis Diaz. Question is, when will Cologne bring it in? And like you said, he probably will be looking for that bottom of the fuel tank. He'll be on fumes by the time he brings it in, I think.
Well, he's going to be coming in probably, for a fuel-only stop. He's got about 40 seconds right now over Dennis Diaz, and I hadn't been able to pay attention exactly how long it was to enter the pits, get your fuel, and get out of the pits. So we'll have to see where he cycles back out after his stop.
Well, I can actually tell you, the fastest we've seen so far is 45 seconds. But the average time is about 52 seconds, so let's go with that 52. So
he may be able to cover him off. We're going to find out here as Atticus. Oh, Louis Cologne almost getting taken out by Atticus there. Atticus off the track one more time, looking for a spot to enter it in. Don't know if he's going to tell it. Waiting for traffic to go by as he enters back onto the racing groove.
Cologne in pit road there from the race lead. He will be looking for his first pit stop of the night. Paul Skip is going to follow him into pit road as well from second place. Mark Dillon Jr. expect him to come down. So we've got a whole plethora of pit stops happening right now. And I'm thinking Ryan Tyler will be in as well now. He will be.
Yep.
So look for Dennis Diaz to try and get that lead away from Louis Cologne.
All right, you get your eyes on Dennis Diaz. I'll have my eyes on Louis Cologne. I'll call off Louis Cologne's exit from the pit lane. Let me know where Diaz is, and we'll see where they mesh out.
Well, Diaz just coming through the second to last corner now, coming into the final bend, and now we'll be on the pit straight now. Where is Louis Cologne? I still see him.
Cologne still in his pit stall. He exits his pit stall right now as Dennis Diaz goes by. We're going to have probably about a 5-second to 10-second deficit off your race leader.
As Cologne rejoins right in front of Tyler Langenberg, and you are right about Langenberg's car. It does have like a, he has like a weird design on the left front quarter panel of the car.
Yeah, it's like the roof paint job melts over the passenger side.
Yeah.
But Cologne getting out there in front of Langenberg. We're going to have to see when they cross timing and scoring where this cycles it back out. You've got a closer look at it of where Dennis Diaz is in relation to Louis Cologne. Dennis Diaz making that undercut big time work for him.
Well, Dennis Diaz was on and off pit road in 52.78 seconds. Louis Cologne, 55.65 seconds in and out of pit road. 3 seconds slower in his pit stall was Louis Cologne, so he's going to have to get his pit crew sorted out for the second stop. That has left him with a deficit of about 2.5 seconds to Dennis Diaz on pit exit.
Yeah, and we've seen what happens when you give Dennis Diaz clean track where he enters back out, where there's not too many people in front of him. He has got a lot of track before the next car for position.
Yeah, absolutely. As Cologne comes out of the final turn, it still has Tyler Langenberg for company behind him. Langenberg able to get that third place back. Obviously, he was the first person in GTE to take it down pit road. A very early pit stop for the man in the number 91. But looking for a good result here tonight. Not too far behind either, though, is Brad Mccombs. As I believe Tyler Vickery's still out on track yet. He's still not made his pit stop yet.
Oh, Vickery really finding where the bottom of this fuel tank is. I guess everyone else was going for the earliest opportunity of their pit window because, I've said it before, and basic strategy is you want to be the first car to make your last stop. Tyler Vickery keeping it wound up out on the track, seeing how far of a lead he can keep over Daniel Barnett. But Tyler's going to have to be bringing it in here, you got to imagine, this lap.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be too far as Christopher Craig is in pit road as well. Jeff Wyatt is in pit road, serving for Timothy Emanuele. Paul Boyle, who's had incidents already tonight, he's in pit road, and Atticus Middleton is back in pit road, but I'm thinking that's owing to the damage on his car. As we go back to Tyler Vickery now, and this will be the answer to the question as to whether he does bring it in as he comes through the final two corners of this track here, Byron.
Yeah, as he does make the dive for pit lane. Yeah, Tyler Vickery bringing it in for service. Now, if I'm looking at the clock right, we're only 5 minutes off of halfway. So that means Tyler's going to take it back out there. He's going to have to make another stop. Maybe he's thinking only a splash and go on that last stop.
Maybe. We'll keep an eye on it anyway as Vickery hits his pit stall. Now we've got to keep an eye on, well, we've got to keep an eye on Keith Roycroft. And Roycroft is only coming on through the exit of the boot as Tyler Vickery is already in his pit stall, not taking tyres yet, but I think Vickery might have the overcut here.
Vickery might have it exactly right as Vickery makes the exit of his pit stall.
There comes
Gets
Roycroft.
it out past the timing line. Okay, now he's free to go up through the gears on pit exit. Careful with those tires, getting back up to temperature as he hustles it off up to the S's into turn one.
Is a full 6.8 seconds ahead of Keith Roycroft. So that overcut for Tyler Vickery worked an absolute treat, because if you think about it, before Roycroft went into pit road, Vickery was about 2.5 seconds behind Roycroft when Roycroft went in. So Vickery got that strategy absolutely perfect that time around.
Yeah, and also in Tyler's feather in Tyler's cap, look where he cycled out on the track. No traffic ahead of him. He can go out there and turn those qualifying style laps, hit his marks with no pressure.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of pressure, he's got one coming up behind him. And that'd be the Tony Watson machine. Tony dives it in real tight. Tyler going wide, letting Tony Watson go. That'd be the wise thing to do.
Yeah, I love that Brumos Porsche, by the way. Beautiful car.
The creativity that goes into the paint schemes that we see in this league, whether they're some done by you and others done by their own drivers or other paint shops, just, is a testament to the artistry that, these guys can get creative as well as drive a race car pretty damn good.
Yeah, they can. As we're looking at Tony Watson, currently sitting in P9 right now. And he's a good 13 seconds off the back of Bryce Anderson, though. Anderson had a good start to the race, started on the pole, but got it all wrong while we were on our commercial break. Has had another incident with Robert Garcia, who's now behind him by some margin. Anderson has really picked up the pace again. He's now only 2 seconds off the back of Mark Dillon.
Yeah, Anderson, he was really being aggressive early on while we had our technical issues. I was paying attention to him. He was being really aggressive at the track limits, and he just got those tires off the racing groove, off of the paved surface, just enough to lose traction. But once he hits his rhythm, he's getting back aggressive with it. He's starting to pick up time. Going back to the front of this thing, we saw Luis Rivera Colon cycled out 2.5 seconds behind the leader, Dennis Diaz. But he's now 4 seconds behind Dennis Diaz, and he is under fire from one Tyler Langenberg, who's hanging right behind him. And don't look now, Brad Mccombs is making that a three-way dance for the second spot.
Yeah, look at that. He's not the only one that's with him, because look who's right behind him. Paul Skip now making it a four-way dance for second place.
Yeah, they got bound up by some lap traffic in the spot of the track where lap traffic is a detriment. Allowed them to bunch up. We're going to have a four-way dance for this second spot. This is going to be interesting in a GTE class here.
Absolutely it could, as they come out of turn one up through the S's right now. Cologne, Langenberg, Mccoombs and Skip all right there. And they're about 13 seconds ahead of Ryan Tyler, as Daniel Barnett has had an incident right here. And he's facing the wrong way on the entrance to the boot, I think that is. And that is not a good place to not a good place to crash at all.
No, not with this battle for second place coming around the carousel right now, headed for the entrance to the boot. Cross flags are in the air. We're halfway home in this thing. The last race of the season, endurance for amateurs, and we're going to crown champions tonight.
That we are, and we will be right back in just a couple of minutes. Going to take a quick commercial break as we are past halfway. Do not go anywhere. We've got more exciting racing coming your way. And we do, as Byron already said, have a champion to crown in GTE Do not go anywhere.
Boy, Bryce Anderson is Welcome back, everybody. Took a little break from the halfway point. This battle for second place is heated up, cooled off, heated up, with swap back and forth. Tyler Langenberg made the charge, made a mistake, fell back. Louis Cologne has got Brad Mccombs all over his tail for this second spot. Brad Mccombs putting some serious Corvette pressure onto the back of that vehicle that Louis Cologne is driving. And I'll tell you what, they almost bump trapped and going into the bus stop. Lap traffic is an issue for these guys when they come up on them. They haven't seen it for a bit. They've got the whole front straightaway before they see lap traffic again. But don't look now. It's going to be another four-way dance for this second spot.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, Byron. Sorry to cut you off. We had another big crash here, and it's oh no, it's Terry Cowger Jr. and it's involving Atticus Middleton as well. And we're going to take a look here and see what happened. We're going to look and see what happened here. Atticus went off through the heel of the boot, and Cowger just didn't see him coming and just punted him right there. Atticus ended up on his roof. Cowger, more damage on his car.
Not the night Cowger was looking for right from the opening laps of lap one. Oh, what a heartbreak for the driver of the 911 Porsche. Terry Cowger Jr. came in with a 2-point deficit, going to walk out with a lot bigger point deficit. As that battle for second place has kind of cooled off a little bit. They've straightened out to a four-man procession. But while that battle was going on, before the battle went on, the time between them and Dennis Diaz up in the lead shrank to 3 seconds. While they were battling, Dennis legged it back out to 5.5 seconds. So maybe these guys are settling down, thinking, okay, let's get to our second round of pit stops, as we're about 4 minutes away from 30 minutes to go here. So about 34 minutes left in this thing to decide a champion tonight, and it looks to be Dennis Diaz if he doesn't get caught up in somebody else's mess. And I'm not going to name names, but yeah, wow, what a night it's been.
Yeah. While all that was going on, Bryce Anderson has gotten around Ryan Tyler and moved his way up to P6, and this is a great recovery drive from Anderson, who, like I said, started up on the pole, had an incident while we were away fixing our technical issues, and now finds himself back looking towards the top 5. The only difference is he's 15 seconds off the pace from Paul Skip, who's the next driver in front of him.
Yeah, now I'm taking a look at the GT3 class right now. Our leader, Tyler Vickery, got great track position, but with the overcut. But don't look now. If I'm not mistaken, Keith Roycroft is chopping off Tyler's lead. He's catching him ever so slowly.
Yeah, the gap was about 7 seconds when the pit stops worked themselves out. The gap is now 5.3 seconds. The good thing that works in their favor, though, Byron, is the fact that Vickery and Roycroft are over 30 seconds ahead of Zachary Nürnberger, who's in third place right now.
Yeah, and Roycroft is just, Vickery can see him in the rearview mirror on the straightaways here, on the front straight, the back straight, coming out of the carousel, or going to the carousel, coming out of the boot. So Vickery might be missing his marks, is starting to feel it. I love the kid to death. We know him personally, worked with him on various race teams, but he can feel some pressure, and he gets real tough on himself. If he keeps his cool, he's got this one in hand, but Roycroft seems to be chopping that lead ever so slightly.
Yeah, as it's not chopping it off as big as he thought he would, though. He only took a tenth out of him that last lap, so Roycroft is eating into it, but not enough, as actually he lost a bit of time going through the bus stop there.
Yeah, the bus stop is a very, very technical part of this track. You got to hit it just right to get through it with some time. You miss one little, mark on it. It's a right, left, right. And if you don't hit it just right, you don't carry the speed that the other guy can. Yeah.
And the Porsche that's behind them, as Ryan Tyler is in pit road for some odd reason. I think he's coming in for a extra early stop. That Porsche that was behind him, I don't really know who that was. Let me just try and find out who it was. I think it was... Well, it's not any of these guys, as I'm just losing the plot. Anyway, but yeah, Vickery holding out a good lead right now, as Ryan Tyler has actually dropped to P9. So Calgary, despite the incidents he's had tonight, not all that far behind.
No, and that battle for second starting to heat up again. As
Mccombs has gone ahead.
dance.
Mccoombs is in second place, so what, we missed him going ahead, and we're going to go back and take a look at it right now. And it was on the run up to the bus stop. A very brave move here for Mccoombs. Got it done in the first part of the bus stop, and a great move there by the driver of the 23.
Yeah, Mccoombs just starting to put it out there a little bit more as he works some more lap traffic. That is a very ballsy place to make a pass if you ask me. That's just my personal opinion, Sam.
Yeah, but Mccoombs has been getting after it since that first round of pit stops, and now will set his sights on trying to close the gap to Dennis Diaz, although he has a 6.8 second gap to make up. Although Brad Mccoombs that time around was faster than Dennis Diaz, but Diaz is having to deal with lap traffic right now. Well, he was, and now he's got a clean track ahead of him.
Yep, now it's just a run to the money stop. And, you got to make that money stop work. What do we call it, the money stop? Because you got to be perfect to have it pay off. You got to get into the pit, no speeding. Get into your stall, don't slide through it. Get out of the pits, no speeding, no penalties. Hit your marks in and out as fast as you can. Take just enough fuel to make it to the end of this thing. And if you come up short on that calculator, it's a long way around on an empty tank when there's no fire in the hole.
Yeah, speaking of pit stops, Tyler Langenberg has just been in pit road for his second and final stop of the night, and he has taken a fast repair because that dark patch that was on the left front of his car is now gone, and that's how you can tell he's taken his fast repair. Another driver in pit road is Robert Garcia. Now, we've not spoken much about Robert Garcia. The only time we've spoken about him was when he had the incident with this man, Tony Watson. He's in pit road as well, as this battle for second place still heating up, although Paul Skip has fallen off the back of these two now.
Yeah, these two, you know what? Luis Rivera Colon has just impressed the heck out of me with the drive he's put on tonight. He's been really spot on it. I think he got past just by a dive bomb, gutsy move at the bus stop. Probably would have scared me to death to hit the brakes too. Got to be wondering when these guys are going to want to bring it pit side, who's going to be the first to blink and who's going to try to make that undercut, and who's going to go for the overcut.
Well,
the overcut worked great. Overcut worked great for Tyler Vickery. We'll see what happens at GTE.
Yeah, we're trying to see that now because Paul Skip has just brought it down pit road for his final stop of the night. Maybe he's looking for an overcut on both Mccoombs and Cologne, as there goes Bryce Anderson moving up to fourth place, albeit temporarily. Paul Boyle has been out on track, but he's also had another incident here as he's not having a good time, and that's who it was in the Porsche. Paul Boyle in that Corsair Porsche, just getting it all wrong through the bus stop right there. Just a bit too wild going into the chicane, and the back end just stepped out and went around.
Saw the car on jacks for Paul Skip, so tires went on that port.
So Skip, new tires on him as we're on board with him going up through the S's right now. And until you go on track, you never appreciate how steep that S's section really is. It really is a big drive up the hill in that part of the track.
Oh yeah, it's a great, there's a lot of elevation change here at Watkins Glen, as we see Paul Skip going into the carousel right now after he exited the bus stop. Now he's going to take it off into the entrance of the boot, bringing it up through the gears, looking to get the inside curbing and hold as much speed as he can without spinning that rear end under power. Looking to get to the outside, hit the apex on this turn, and charge it. Another huge elevation change as he exits the boot, headed up the hill. For the boot exit, I should say. Yeah,
as he takes it down the backstretch through the boot, and now into the toe of the boot. As nice and smooth through there, obviously on fresh tyres after taking those tyres in that last pit stop. We're going to go take a look at the battle for second place as Cologne right on the rear bumper of the Corvette of Brad Mccoombs now might have a running him down towards the bus stop.
As he goes to look to make that move, but Mccombs has the preferred line into that bus stop. Boy, it is hard to use the outside on that right-hander for the bus stop.
And that was a very aggressive defensive move there by Mccombs there to stay ahead of Cologne's Tony Watson and Terry Calgar Jr. bringing down pit road for their pit stops. Pit stops are underway here at Watkins Glen for the final time, and it's going to figure that this is where we're going to figure out where people lie once they're all said and done. Look at the GT3. Keith Roycroft has started closing the gap again to Tyler Vickery. The gap now 4.3 seconds.
Yeah, he's been just whacking away at it ever so slightly, but we saw Tyler just really spin that fuel tank on that first run, wondering if he's going to do the same thing again.
More than likely. He knows how to get it done. The 324 BMW. It's the first time we've seen him in the BMW since he made his debut a few back at Imola. Going to be looking to keep extending and extending and extending. We've got a few drivers from GT3 in pit road, but most importantly, we've got one driver from GT in pit road. That's Dennis Diaz.
Dennis Diaz bringing it in for the money stop. That allows Brad Mccombs and Louis Colon to get by. So we got to wonder, when are these two going to want to come in to cover Dennis's pit stop?
Now we're going to keep focus on Dennis Diaz to see if he does take tyres on the second pit stop, because we saw Paul Skip do it. Is it going to be the same again for this young man?
I wouldn't expect
and the
Dennis
answer is
to
no.
take tires. No. He is the king of extending tire life on an endurance run, let me tell you.
Yeah, as that's Lynn Kopp coming out of pit road right behind him. Dave Ferrara in pit road, as well as Mark Dillon Jr., who had an incident earlier and has decided to call it a night, it looks like. So he's just race control from the time being. But now we have a battle for the lead between Brad Mccombs and Louis Colon, but obviously this race lead won't last long once the pit stops shake out. They're only about 28 seconds ahead of Dennis Diaz.
So that undercut by Dennis Diaz just might pay off even bigger dividend than we saw it happen the last time. It's all going to be boiling down to how much fuel do these guys need to get to the end. Are they going to take a full tank, or are they just going to take just enough to get to the end? We'll have to wait and see.
Bryce Anderson showing a lot of pace as well. He currently...
Bryce Anderson has been picking it up, putting it down big time.
Oh yeah, he has. And remember when I said...
Here comes Brad Mccombs.
So we've got a battle for position as Tyler Vickery in pit road as well for the lead. So not extending that tank as he did in the first stop. But yeah, we got a battle between Brad Mccombs and Louis Colon through pit stop strategy. But I was saying about Bryce Anderson before the pit stops got underway right there. He was about 16 seconds off the back of the leaders. Now he's only 12 seconds. He has been absolutely flying since he made that mistake, and has not looked back ever since.
He still has to bring it pit side though for his last stop, I do believe.
He does. As Dennis Diaz has already gotten around Brad Mccombs. Mccombs is just back out on track right now. Wow, he's got out 4 seconds ahead of Paul Skip right there. So great stop by Mccombs. Remember, Paul Skip was only a second back when Skip made his pit stop.
Great stop. Yeah, now we just got to keep our eyes on Louis Rivera Colon to see if, how his pit stop's going to be, if and when he brings that thing pit side.
On board with him now as he comes through the final part of the boot, through the right-hander. Now going to make his way up the hill to the left-hander on the exit of the boot. We go back out on track and see him right there, and he's been very steady, he's been very stable throughout this race. He's 27 seconds ahead, about 28 seconds ahead of Dennis Diaz. I don't think Cologne's going to get out ahead of him, unfortunately, as Cologne actually is going to stay out an extra lap.
Oh, well, that extended overcut worked for Tyler Vickery the last go-round. We'll have to see how it works for Louis Colon on this one. If Tyler Vickery's back out on track,
yeah, he is.
as he heads it off into the boot, heads it up on the back stretch of the boot, headed towards the toe. Keith Roycroft currently exiting the bus stop, headed for the carousel. Tyler Vickery may be able to sneak in and out of the pits here. I mean,
Roycroft.
Roycroft may be able to sneak in and out of the pits. He's going to come out right next to Tyler on this stop. It'll be interesting to see this one. You know what? GT3 is shaping up to be the close race tonight.
Problem is, I think Tyler Vickery took tyres on that last stop. He was 44 seconds in his pit stall last time around. So either that is a change of tyres or he had a penalty.
Well, we're about to see what Keith Roycroft does here. As he brings it around, headed back up the hill, coming out of the boot, back on the NASCAR section of the track. Heads it off for the final 2 turns and see if he dives it off the pit lane this time around.
Yeah, here we go. That Pelagic, number 48. Been very good tonight, the Pony Express machine. As it stays out another lap.
Track.
Yeah, it stays out another lap. As it looks like Cologne has stayed out another lap as well. He has. And he's going to come in now for his pit stop. Cologne in pit road.
All right, now we need to see where Bryce Anderson is going to bring his in. Bryce Anderson, you figure he's going to have to come in for a pit stop. No, he holds it out another lap.
So Anderson extending his stop. As here comes Diaz through the final 2 corners of the track, and Cologne not even in his pit stall yet. So this is going to be an easy retake of position for Diaz, as Diaz now on the start-finish straight. Cologne only just putting fuel in his car now.
Yep, as he gets just enough fuel to get him to the end of the race, he's out of his pit stall, headed back out on the track. Look who he's going to come out right next to, right out ahead of, and that is going to be Brad Mccombs.
Yeah, great overcut there by Cologne, and will get himself back up to second place here, or net second place, once Bryce Anderson takes it down pit road. So Cologne, now he's just got to keep that Corvette behind him, but that Corvette has been so fast here tonight so far.
Yeah, well, look who's right behind the Corvette.
Paul Skip.
We're going to have another... Tyler Langenberg's just now exiting the bus stop, so it's not going to be that 3-way dance for the second that we saw earlier, but it's going to be a 3-way dance. It's going to be interesting. Looks like GTE is shaping up to be an exciting race as well, as Keith Roycroft looks like to be bringing it. Nope, he's going to keep it out on the track and leg out some more. So Rex Hoyle is holding down the second spot in GT3. Daniel Barnett, Tyler Vickery, but Barnett, Hoyle, and Roycroft had yet to bring a pit side, so we'll have to see where that one cycles out in GT3 class.
And Christopher Craig actually chasing down Rex Hoyle for position right now, and Craig has had another off somewhere because he's got some rear wing damage on that Porsche, so already burned his fast repair, going to have to deal with that for the rest of the race, unfortunately. Yeah,
and you know, Watkins Glen is a track that is going to be sensitive to aero because you have fast sweeping corners here. It's like a high-speed, I don't know, what do you call it? A Dover, you know, if you're a NASCAR driver, the Dover road course on steroids for the fast sweeping corners?
No, I wouldn't have thought of that like that. Although it is extremely fast, it's I don't know what to compare it to, but I think Watkins Glen is just unique in its own way. As Brad Mccombs has got the
track version of short track version of Spa,
possibly, but Brad Mccombs has got ahead of Lewis Cologne here. So Cologne, that overcut he got on Brad Mccombs very short-lived, as Mccombs now back up ahead of him.
Yeah, but Cologne's not letting up one bit as they're starting to work lap traffic. Cologne is right all over the back bumper of that Corvette.
Yeah, we're just looking at a replay, and it was another big ballsy dive by Lewis Cologne, by Brad Mccombs to get back up to that second spot. So through the bus stop, that seems to be where he likes to make the passes work. As here comes Keith Roycroft to pit road.
Okay, Roycroft, pit road. We're looking for Rex Hoyle to make pit road, and we're still waiting on Daniel Barnett to make pit road. And where is Tyler Vickery? As he is now...
He's only just coming through the heel of the boot, so... Yeah, I think Vickery might have had a penalty. That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, he's got to be kicking himself then.
Yeah. Because Roycroft is already on his way out of pit road. Christopher Craig. Rex Hoyle has stayed out another lap, but he's still yet to bring it down pit road, I believe. Yeah, he is. Same for Daniel Barnett. I mean, Vickery will probably get second place here, but it could have been a win, and he had the pace to do it as well.
We'll have to ask him if he gets second place. If we get an interview with him, we're going to have to ask him, was that a penalty or was that tires on that last stop?
Yeah, because...
It could have been It could have been tires by mistake, because there's been times that I have forgotten to uncheck my tires when I wanted to do a gas-only stop, and it cost me in the pits.
Yeah. Well, Vickery just coming up through the S's right now. He's actually chasing down Daniel Barnett, who made a mistake on the shoot down towards the boot a lap ago. So Barnett feeling a bit of pressure from the 324 right now.
Yep, there's Bryce Anderson, who is your race leader currently, but he still has yet to bring it to pit road.
It just did. It just brought it down pit road. He's now down in P5.
Bryce Anderson. Oh. My timing and scoring hasn't caught up yet then.
Yeah. As Bryce Anderson is back out on track. He's 5.1 seconds behind Paul Skip, but with what we've seen so far, with him being able to close in time very quickly, that might still be a battle for that fourth spot right now, as he's having to negotiate his way around not just Timothy Emanuele, but also he's got to try and put a lap on Christopher Craig as well.
Well, we're coming up on, what, 20 minutes to go?
Less than 20 minutes to go. We're 1 hour and 12 minutes in now, so... About 18 minutes, 17 minutes.
Now is the time mental mistakes start taking their toll. Dennis Diaz has got clear track in front of him. His race to lose right now. Brad Mccombs has been able to pull away from Lewis Camone by a couple of seconds, who's got a couple of second lead over Paul Skip.
Yeah, as Mccoombs just negotiated his way around Dallas Sullivan right there. And Dallas Sullivan has had a very quiet race as Daniel Barnett finally brings it down to pit road in GT3. Yeah, Dallas Sullivan is a driver we've not really mentioned tonight, just had a very quiet race tonight so far.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes quiet and under the radar sneaks you up higher on that leaderboard. You don't get that announcer's curse with the focus on it. Just waiting for Rex Hoyle to bring his... Oh, big off track right there. Who was that?
That's Jeff Wyatt.
Oh, that was a scary moment there for Rex Hoyle's Wyatt just towed the pit lane.
Yeah, Jeff Wyatt got absolutely punted by Tyler Langenberg right there on the entrance to the boot. That was a... We're going to go back and take another look at that, because that looked pretty... Well, that was a wrong camera angle. We're going to take another look at it just in just a second. There it is. I think that was a case of Jeff Wyatt braking a bit too early and catching out Tyler Langenberg, and Langenberg just having nowhere to go.
Oh, yeah, he got spun and put into the wall pretty darn hard. Langenberg nowhere to go, nose damage on the car. Mental mistakes at the end, towards the end of the race. It's the killer of it all.
Paul Skip has got ahead of Louis Cologne as well, so actually they're side by side going into the bus stop here. This is going to be interesting. Cologne just able to stay ahead there. Very aggressive defensive move there by the 195.
Well, I don't know if that's so much as an aggressive move, or is that the 85 of Paul Skip saying, you know what, go ahead and take it. I do not want to be that guy in the bus stop going side by side.
Yeah, as we're on board with Lewis Cologne right now. There's Paul Skip right behind him. We're on board this. Your battle for third place overall. And it's really heating up between the two Porsche drivers right now as they come through the first part of the boot and down this short backstretch.
Yeah, the battle's on. You know, Paul Skip putting all the pressure that he can all over Luis Rivera Colon, hoping that mental fatigue is going to cause him to make a mistake, overdrive a corner, so he can get the overtake on him. He's looking for every which way he can. He's searching for a different line to get around him in the corners. Tough place to pass. Next big passing zone is going to be the final turn and then turn 1.
Yeah, and they also need to be careful because Bryce Anderson is absolutely steaming up behind them right now. He's already taken 2 seconds out of the cars in front of him, so Bryce Anderson might be a factor before this is all said and done here. We've just got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, well, Bryce Anderson can see him up the track. He's not that far behind. As long as these two keep battling, that's going to allow Bryce Anderson to catch up and get up to him.
Yeah, so Anderson, gap about 3.8 seconds now. He lost a couple of tenths through that first corner, but we'll get it back down the fast parts while Cologne and Skip keep battling. Just an update on Rex Hoyle, still not taking it down pit road yet. He's really running that tank dry right now in that Mercedes.
Well, we know that those GT3 cars can really put some distance. We saw Tyler Vickery do it. He must have decided to come in early and take tires on that stop. That's all I can think of, Sam, that his tires went completely away, that he said, no, let me stop early. Because Rex Hoyle holding it out there for as long as he can. You know, if he held it out for what, another 10 minutes, he'd be at the end of the race.
Yeah, he would. As Hoyle just making his way through the bus stop. He's got no traffic around him right now, all by himself. So Hoyle in a very opportunistic position, and he's actually starting to pull away from Tyler Vickery, even though Hoyle is on much older tires.
Whoa, big move on lockup of the brakes by Luis Cologne allows Paul Skip to get by him and put a little bit of distance on him in the boot.
Taking a look at that one. Yeah, and a massive lock up there and running wide there by Cologne, and that's all that Paul Skip needed to get that position away. And Cologne now has to play catch up once again and try and get that position back, while Bryce Anderson, well, you just see him come out the final turn right there. He is now got no cars in between him and the two other Porsches in front of him.
Yeah, you know what? That whole pass right there for position by Paul Skip, that was nothing but Paul Skip didn't, take a different line. He didn't do anything, dirty. All he did was get his rear bumper up as close as he could to that car in front of him and start making that driver, Luis Rivera Colon, drive out of his rearview mirror. He made Luis Colon pay so much attention to what was going on behind him, he missed his braking point, locked it up, went wide, and that's how you put, that was what we call a pressure pass. You put the pressure on the driver. He made a mistake, you got to overtake.
Yeah, just keep on the back of the driver in front of you. Try and force them into mistake. That's what Paul Skip did, and he did it to absolute perfection, and now finds himself in third place right now as Brad Mccoombs. He's now 4.2 seconds ahead of Paul Skip right now, and also he's started to slightly eat into the gap between himself and Dennis Diaz, so might have left it a bit too late here as we've only got 11 minutes left, but Mccombs really showing a lot of pace around here tonight.
Yeah, Mccombs getting it done. He's got Dennis Diaz. He can see him up the track. Dennis Diaz has got some lap traffic. He's going to have to negotiate, but no, he doesn't. I don't see any lap traffic ahead of Dennis Diaz, and there is nothing but open track between him and Brad Mccombs at the moment.
Yeah. As that time around, Brad Mccombs actually slower, so Dennis Diaz knew that Mccombs was coming and responded by putting in a much faster lap time than Brad Mccombs that time around. So Diaz knows he might have a battle if he's not careful, so just needs to keep up those fast lap times just to keep on top of it.
Yeah, I'm just keeping track of this. Bryce Anderson, oh my God, only 2 seconds. He might catch him before the end of this thing.
Yep, less than 10 minutes to go now, and he's really got to put his foot to the floor if he wants to try and get to the back of Cologne, and then hopefully Skip, because Paul Skip has now pulled out to a 1.4 second lead over the 195 as Rex Hoyle has finally brought it to pit road.
Yeah, finally taking it into pit lane, allows Tyler Vickery to get by him. So Tyler Vickery's back up into second place as he hustles it off into turn 1. But our race leader in GT3, Keith Roycroft, he's already out of the bus stop, out of the carousel, and headed off into the boot.
Yeah, 28 seconds is the gap between Roycroft and Vickery, so you got to think that one is pretty much done and dusted now in GT3. Barring a mistake by Keith Roycroft, but Roycroft has just been absolutely untouchable tonight. The only person that's been able to stay with him was Tyler Vickery, but mistakes in pit road will cost you a race, and that's exactly what's happened to the 324 tonight.
Yeah, but my hat goes off to Tyler Vickery, because you know what? And I'm not saying anything out of school, and I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say to Tyler himself, but let's face it, not but a couple, 3 years ago, he was the king of what we called Alt F4. He would have rage quit by now, you know, the earlier Tyler Vickery. But my hat's off to him. He's sticking with it. He's going to hold down. Second place is his to lose. Zachary Nurnberger's quite a bit behind him. So,
well,
Tyler's got second. Well, maybe not.
Rex Hoyle held on to third place through the pit stop. So, Hoyle in third place in GT3. And he's a full 9 seconds back. So, Boyle won't get that time down in time at all. I mean, if you're within about 2-3 seconds, maybe, but 9 seconds is just a bit too much.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz, he's holding down about a 4-second lead right now on the GTE class. He's just logging laps right now, waiting for the clock to wind down as we're in the final. We're under 10 minutes to go in this thing.
And we are less than 8 minutes to go, actually. 7.5 minutes left in this race now, and Dennis Diaz holding a 4-second lead over Brad Mccombs. He's just taken 0.2 of a second out of the champion-elect now. Actually, it's now down to 3.9 seconds, so Diaz is starting to be caught by Brad Mccombs, but has Mccombs left it too late?
No, but take a look. Bryce Anderson is all over the rear bumper at Luis Rivera Cologne right now.
There it is, out for P4 now, and Anderson now looking to the back of Cologne, and I think Cologne might have made a mistake that was able to close the gap between the 69 and the 195, but here we go, Anderson trying to pass, but Cologne, a big defensive move there by himself, and now Anderson going to look for the pass up to the S's now.
The S's are a bad place to do it. We saw it on lap 1 of the race on the green flag. You get it all wrong and the S is trying to make a move. You're going for a ride. There's nowhere to go. But there's side rails on this track, and it is not a pretty thing to see as they go hauling off side by side to the bus stop.
Yeah, and Anderson had to back out of that one because he did not have the favorable line going into the bus stop, and he's lost almost a second because of that, now having to back out to the bus stop.
Yeah, but at the way Bryce Anderson's been driving this second half of this race, he's been driving like, I mean, he's elbows up on that wheel. I look for him to catch back up for this thing and make an issue of it as time is winding down, 5 to go.
I said it was 28 seconds between Tyler Vickery and Keith Roycroft. The gap is now 22 seconds, so I don't know where he got 6 seconds from, but Tyler Vickery is flying right now.
Tyler putting on, you know, he's got tunnel vision right now. He's got a clean track in front of him. He's logging qualifying laps, hitting his marks. No pressure in front, no pressure behind. He's got the best of that he could do. Keith Roycroft, he's got traffic he had to negotiate. And he's got more traffic he's going to have to negotiate. But Tyler Vickery's going to have to negotiate that same traffic if he wants to catch up to him.
Yeah, the question is if he can catch up to him. He's not going to have enough time to try and close the gap unless Roycroft makes a very terrible mistake, and it looks like Mccombs might have made a mistake because the gap... Nope, he hasn't made a mistake. Well, the gap is holding off now at about 3.9 seconds, so Mccombs not able to close the gap as here comes Bryce Anderson once again.
Bryce Anderson is all over the back of Luis Rivera Cologne in the S's. Cologne doing his best to defensively hold his line. You can see him. You don't normally see these cars do the Indy Snake down the straights, but they have been, as this time, Bryce Anderson doesn't try to make the move in the bus stop. He just rolls behind him, so he does not lose that second to track position. Now this battle's really heating up for the third spot.
Out of the
Our
carousel.
fourth spot, sorry.
Yeah, out of the carousel and into the boot they go. Through the laces, in towards the toe of the boot. And Anderson is right on his tail this time. Didn't have to back out as Cologne runs a little bit wide. Might give a gap there to Anderson coming out of the toe of the boot. Doesn't really get it as they head down towards the heel. Now, Anderson going to be looking for it as he looks around the outside. Not the favorable line to be taken through the heel.
No, but he might have been looking for that crossover as he forces Cologne to defend. Gets it up. Now he's got the inside line coming on the left-hander. Forces Cologne wide, doesn't quite get it done, all over the back of him, looking to make that pressure and pass once again, as we've seen Cologne make that mistake under braking the last time he got past. He's not doing that mistake again. Cologne holding him off for one more lap as time is winding down. Bryce Anderson, if he wants that fourth position, he needs to get it done and get it done quick.
Yeah, and not too far behind them is Tyler Langenberg, so if anything happens between these two, he'll be the one to pick up the pieces from that one. Taking a look at Brad Mccombs once again. The gap has gone up to 4.4 seconds now, so Mccombs has lost some time, but look who's creeping up behind him. Paul Skip has now got the gap down to just under 2 seconds between himself and Brad Mccombs.
Yeah, but time's winding down. This battle is heating up for fourth position. This time through the bus stop, no separation as Bryce Anderson all over the rear bumper of Luis Rivera Colon.
Absolutely, as they come through towards the laces of the boot now. Anderson going to do a big dummy there in towards the left-handed contact between the two, but Bryce Anderson gets the job done. What a dummy by Bryce Anderson to move his way up to P4, and that's exactly what he did, what he needed to do right there.
Oh my God, gave him the head fake, went one way. What do they call it in hockey? He deked him hard and just dive bombed it into that corner. Slight contact with the, because he was carrying so much momentum. How he hung on to that through that corner, I don't know, but moved Bryce Anderson up to the fourth spot, and he's starting to leg it out now.
Now, I'm going to be a bit of a critic here, but with how bad of a season that Bryce Anderson has had at GT3, he seems a lot more at home in GTE, and I've got to be absolutely imploring him right now to move back to GTE for season 3, because he seems a lot more comfortable in these cars than he does the GT3 cars.
It's a different, the car weighs different. The car has different braking on it. It's just, to me, it's a little more manageable of a vehicle than the GT3. Even though the GT3 is a slower class, the GT3 to me is a little harder to drive, as Bryce Anderson's just made a breakaway from Luis Rivera Colon.
We've got a battle for second though. Paul Skip versus Brad Mccombs, and Mccombs just holding that gap slightly, but Skip is pushing the issue ever so slightly, wants that second place away from Mccombs. And with the way that Calgar has had his night go tonight, I don't think that Skip will move up to second place, but it'll be darn near close if he can get that second place away from Brad Mccombs right now. Yeah,
but that's the rub, is he got time to get that second place away.
He's right on his tail as they come out of the toe of the boot, so he's very close, although Dennis Diaz, he's about to cross the line for the white flag here. He's coming through the final part of the boot, and in about 30 seconds will be up to 1 hour and 30 minutes. So it will be the white flag lap for the race leader, Dennis Diaz, as he comes out of the final corner. Barney the flagman waves that white flag again in earnest.
Yep, white flag in the air. Final lap for the guys here for the final race of the season. Endurance for amateurs here at Watkins, Glen.
We're side by side for second on the white flag lap as Paul Skip looking around the outside, going in towards turn 1. Mccombs has the favourable line. Sorry to cut you off there, Byron, but we've got a big battle for second place right now.
Oh, big time battle going on. They are side by side through the S's as, oh my God, Mccombs has got the inside line on that last turn. Paul Skips gets around him.
Yeah, they're side by side still, though, going in towards the bus stop. Who's going to back out of this one? Mccombs has to back out. Skip using the aggressive move to get the position away. Skip stealing it at the death from Brad Mccombs, up to second place now.
Oh my God, that Corvette has been flying all race long, but leave it up to Paul Skip to use the maneuverability of that Porsche in the bus stop. Bold move, gets enough leg room on him. All he's got to do is hold him off for the final part of the final few corners of the track, get through the boot, slings it around, heads it up the hill, up the back stretch, through what we call the shoelaces, headed for the toe, to bring it back out for the final two corners, back up on the NASCAR part of the track. What a race as Dennis Diaz, he holds those last two corners, headed off to the start-finish line.
Yeah, and he comes through the final two corners right now. Left-hander and then right-hander. And that is all it is for Dennis Diaz. He's been absolutely on it from round two onwards. He's been winning the most races all season. And now he is a two-time champion. Dennis Diaz, I will get it right eventually, is a two-time champion in GTE for the Pony Express Endurance for Amateur Series. Congratulations going to Dennis Diaz.
What a race for second place. Paul Skip getting around Brad Mccombs in the bus stop to take that second spot away from him in GTE class. Going back, Keith Roycroft coming around. He's got the checkered flag for the GT3 class. Tyler Vickery is going to get the second place. Great race driven by the 324 driver of Tyler Vickery. I mean, hats off to him. We're going to have to ask him about that last pit stop, what happened there. But, yeah, what an exciting race, Sam. Oh, my God.
Yep, and I believe this is going to be Roycroft's first ever win in the GT3 class, and his first ever win in Endurance for Amateurs as he comes out of the final corner. Keith Roycroft, his first ever win in Endurance for Amateurs. Congratulations to the 48.
Yep, 48 crosses the start-finish line, flashing the headlights, heading off the final corner now. Here comes your second place driver in the GT3 class, Tyler Vickery, crossing the line, second place. Rex Hoyle's going to bring it home, third place, followed by Zachary Nuremberger and Daniel Barnett rounding out your top five in GT3.
Vickery just goes straight on into the corner. That's a... Yeah, okay. Anyway, but big congratulations going out to Keith Roycroft for picking up his first ever GT3 win, but even bigger congratulations going out to Dennis Diaz for picking up the, his second championship in a row. And so far, he's the only overall champion in Endurance for Amateurs so far in the league's history. So, Dennis Diaz is your champion, and we will go and try and reach out to him right now, I think. And we're going to bring him, and Byron has been running down there, finally got his chance now. He's right next to Dennis Diaz, and we'll get that interview with him right now.
Oh, my God. Look out, man. That is what? Number 2, championship number 2 for the 420 MW, Mr. Dennis Diaz. Man, tell me about this race.
Well, it was definitely hectic, especially at the beginning. I put no practice at all. I kind of just went in knowing that I just had to stay ahead of Terry. I had to not get below 8th place, so I was just keeping that in mind. But once Bryce span and then I saw Lewis ahead, I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to win the championship, I might as well just win the race to seal it as well. So that's when you saw the giant battle between me and Lewis for, I don't know, like 20 minutes. And
like forever?
Yeah, basically. That's what it felt like. It was very, very close between me and him. Luckily, we had no contact, so it was really good. Very clean. Yeah, just very tiring as well.
Well, you got the job done. Talk to me about that opening lap, man. There was, we were expecting one heck of a battle because Terry Calder Jr. he started, right there with you. You guys started third and fourth, and I was looking for that opening lap battle. And next thing I know, I saw tire smoke and a big incident, man. How did you skate by that, or did that happen right behind you?
Well, Terry started behind me, so it happened behind me. I think, well, I heard Tyler tapped Terry, so that sent Terry into a spin. And Terry just had to recover from that point on. Throughout the driver chat, I don't think he was having too much fun, but yeah, it's unfortunate for Terry. I was really hoping, as a championship battle, to have a really, really good one. I guess I had it with Lewis instead. So yeah, definitely earned that one for sure.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. You laid down the gauntlet for these guys. Are you going to be back? Are you going to race GT3 or GTE for the next season? Because I'm thinking you're probably going to be in a GTE car, and you're going to say, "Come at me, bro."
Well, I'm going to stay in GTE. That's a given. I can't go down, and I prefer the GTEs anyway. So if they want the smoke next season, they can get the smoke.
You heard it, folks, from your race winner and your season champion, Mr. Dennis Diaz, saying, "You want to be the man? Come beat the man." And we'll see you next season, man. But hey, congratulations. Go enjoy the win. Anyone you need to thank for their helping get you there?
Friends, family watching. Just yeah, this is tiring. Um, I know Mac got disconnected, but his adoptive mother passed away recently, and Pony Express made a little badge of honor in her honor on their car. So a shout out to Mac and the whole family. They're going through tough times, so that's a nice little shout out to them. And to my mother, she always begs me every single time, "Hey, mention me." So Jenny, there you go. You're a lovely lady as always. So hope you're watching. You better be watching, actually.
There you go. All right, folks. Hey, that's your season 2 champion. That's the guy who says, "Come get it." You want some? Come get some. Dennis Diaz.
Yeah, and Byron, don't go anywhere because we've got another champion standing next to you. And that will be one Mr. Michael McCoy, the GT3 champion, who's just joined you right there.
Oh, Mr. McCoy, nice to see you this evening. I got another championship crown to hand out. This one says GT3 champ. This one says that you're the man to beat, and let everyone know if they want to be the man, they got to beat the man. Congratulations, you got a championship, my friend.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, Byron and Sam. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you guys put on one heck of a show for us. You make our jobs easy. You make it exciting. I didn't get to see you tonight, but I'm going to see you next season, correct?
Yeah, I was trying to decide whether I wanted to step up to GTE or run the F3 cars because, open wheelers are my first love, but I think I'll have more fun in the GTE class. So I'll definitely be there next season. Hopefully try to stick with the same car and get really consistent with it, with the Porsche 911, the RSR.
Well, we've seen that Porsche, really be able to be awful quick and nimble around the track. We actually watched the Porsche take second place in this one in the GTE class, getting himself right around a Corvette. So, yeah, great choice on the Porsche. Anyone you want to shout out to and congratulate for helping you become the E4A GT3 Season 2 champ?
Oh, well, yeah, the usual suspects. Just want to thank my wife, my son, my family, like my sister, my niece, and my great niece up north. And just a shout out to my dad. I lost him at the end of 2019, and about a year before. Sorry,
All right.
but yeah, a year before he died, and I was just getting into this and bought my first computer and VR headset, and remember sending him a picture of me all in my rig, and he was just having a good time, saying I was like a space cadet. So I wish he was here to see this. But
Trust me, he sees it, and he's smiling and he's proud, and he's saying, "Son, go give me another one."
yeah, all right. Yeah, this one's for him, and everybody who helped me this year, like my family, for just letting me go off and practice for an insane amount of time. All week leading up to these races, and just get an opportunity to uh, have something happen with this after so many years of trying.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can't tell you how much excitement you guys have given us over the season. We look forward to the next season and can't wait to bring it to you. Everybody, that is your season 2 Endurance for Amateurs GT3 champion, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you guys. You have a good one. See you next season.
See you next season.
So with that one out of the way, we have, Michael McCoy, obviously very emotional after that one, claiming the GT3 crown. He didn't race tonight, but he wanted to come along and say a few thank yous to people and everything else for everything that happened tonight. Moving on to second place in GT. I have one Mr. Paul Skip with me right now, and Paul, what a battle to get that second place away. All went down to the wire in the final lap there. That must have been exciting for you right there.
Oh yeah, I was hooping and hollering all the way to the start finish. I just want to, tip my hat to Brad. He ran good. He ran hard all season. Ran me real hard tonight. Hats off to you, buddy. Sorry I had to go down that way, but I wasn't gonna miss the opportunity. Not after my first lap appearance here last season.
Yeah, and definitely makes up for last season. And yeah, had a lot of good racing out there. I mean, it was a four-way battle for second place at one point, which you were at the back of for a while. And it didn't seem like the pit stop strategies favoured you, but you definitely had the pace out there tonight, and it really showed.
Well, when I came in, I was way off the pace. I think I started the race in 6th, and I'm like, well, let's just finish the race and keep the car out of trouble, keep it clean. And that was really just my strategy going in. The second pit stop, I forgot to clear my tires, so I ended up taking them, and that actually ended up being a blessing in disguise there for me at the end to get the run on Brad.
Yeah, absolutely, and it definitely paid off for yourself. And this race confirms that you finish in, I believe, let me just double check the championship standings. This confirms you finish in, I think it's 3rd in the standings. Yeah, 3rd in the standings. Got to be proud of your season?
Yeah, I'm real happy. I think next season, we're going to, need to work on minimizing those mistakes and, just keep racing clean. I know Mike McCoy's coming up, so hopefully he can give Dennis some problems. And maybe I can be in there to scoop up a win or two when it doesn't go their way.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be looking forward to when we head to Canadian Tire for season 3 and seeing how things turn out there. But before we let you go and celebrate your second place here tonight, Paul, your well-earned second place here, who's responsible for bringing that JPS Porsche to second place here tonight?
I'd like to thank Mark and all the guys at Pony Express for putting the league on. I'd like to thank all the league drivers. Shout out to Dennis and Terry. Raced me hard all season, all 12 races. You can't ask for much more than that. I'd like to thank my girlfriend, Steph. Love you. And that's about it.
All right. Well, Paul Skip, congratulations on the second place. Very well fought and very well deserved. Go and get yourself some rest, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks for, I believe you're in the All-Star race now because you're a race winner, right?
Yep, I am in the All-Star race. I'm going to be in a Miata.
Well, we'll be seeing you for that one then.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That was Paul Skip joining us from second place in GTE. Now joining Byron down in Victory Lane once again in GT3. We have a first-time race winner with him right now.
You know what? We crowned a champion, first-time champion. Now we're going to crown a first-time race winner, Keith Roycroft. You brought it home. One heck of an undercut or overcut on the pit stop for the final stop and held on to the lead, man. Tell me about your race.
It was hectic for me, but it was fun.
Well,
Yeah,
it
I
looked
feel
awful
really
fun.
good.
I'd be feeling really good too. You're standing in winner's circle for the first time. You got a notch on the belt. Now you can tell everyone, hey, I'm a Watkins Glen winner. You know, you want some, come get some next go around. You did it pretty, sneakily dominating kind of fashion. Started second or third out there on the field in the GT3 class, and kind of just held serve through the whole race.
Yeah, I tried to hold on to the lead. Tyler was coming, and then after my first pit stop, I got caught behind some other GT3s fighting for position, and then he took the lead, and through some other circumstances, I was able to take it back and hold on to it.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out from Tyler because it looked like on his final pit stop he took tires or got a penalty. I'm kind of really curious to find out what happened with that, and that handed you off the lead. You held serve with it. How did you find it on this track? Where was your spots to get around cars? Because I noticed there were some times that you get caught up in traffic and just could not get around people.
No, this track, everybody's talking about how hard it is to pass on this track. It's not really any room, and especially if they all have the same pace, it's really hard. And mixing the GTEs in the mix, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, it looked it. Dude, it's your first time up in victory lane. I know you got to be celebrating. There's some hooping and hollering going on in the back. Who you got to give a shout out to and thank for helping you get there?
You know what? I got to tell you, the first person I need to thank is my wife. She's been so patient with all the time I've been spending in practices and races, and it's paid off.
Well, there you go. Looking forward, we're going to be seeing you GT3 racing again next season, or are you stepping up to GTE?
No, I'm going to stay in GT3A and stay with the BMW.
All right. Well, you've heard it yourself. Keith Roycroft got himself a victory. He's going to be looking for a championship for the next season, for season 3. We look forward to seeing you, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to be another fun season. I can't wait. Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. That is your race winner in the GT3 class. First time, Keith Roycroft.
Yeah, and Tyler Vickery not very happy right now, so he's not in Discord. I don't think we're going to get an interview with him. He doesn't seem very happy after the... I'm guessing he must have got a penalty because he's very unhappy right now.
Well, you know what? I will catch up with him at another time. We will get the story. We'll bring it to you probably on the season opener of Endurance for Amateurs. Sam, your thoughts, season 2, Endurance for Amateurs. What have we seen? What have we learned? And what do we expect going forward?
Well, as Keith Roycroft already alluded to, we do have a new system coming out for next season. GTE is staying exactly the same, but they are splitting up the GT3 categories for season 3. We're going to have GT3A and we're going to have GT3B. GT3A will have the Porsche and the BMWs. GT3B will have the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, and all that sort of stuff. So definitely going to be interesting and throwing a lot of new dynamics. So we're going to have a GT3A champion and a GT3B champion next season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which car is going to be the quicker of those in the GT3 class. Will it be the A class or the B class at the end of the season? We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. But looking forward to season 3, and we're going back to the track that started it all for Endurance for Amateurs. We are off to Canadian Tire in a few weeks' time. But before that, we have been doing a bit of negotiating with the league owner, Mark Dillon Jr. We will be bringing you their All-Star race, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. We will have that on your screens, and should be a lot of fun when they head to the track. I believe, from what I heard, they're going to have from Paul Skip's point of view, they're going to have the Miatas involved.
Oh boy, that's going to be really interesting. We're going to have some very different, what we call deltas on the track, speed difference on cars.
Absolutely. But anyway, let's go straight to the results for tonight's race, and let's see how they stack up for the final time this season. And coming home with the win in GTE, was Dennis Diaz, and he claims his second championship in a row. Will he go for number 3 next season? He's going to have a lot of competition for it next time round. Coming up in second place was Paul Skip, and he was very happy with that one, especially with the battle he had with Brad Mccoombs, who finished in 3rd. We had a great battle at the end between Bryce Anderson and Lewis Cologne. Bryce Anderson coming off the winner in P4. Tyler Langenberg getting around Lewis Cologne as well after Cologne made a mistake on the final lap. He has to come home in P6 in the end. Ryan Tyler in P7, Tony Watson in P8, Terry Cowger Jr. Heartbreak for him. He was in the championship running only 2 points behind going into tonight, but had a big incident on lap 1 that put him on the back foot, and he's been playing catch up ever since. He finishes 2nd in the points. Robert Garcia getting the right top 10. Last spot in the top 10 in GTE. Jesse Brennan in P11. Christopher Craig, who had an early incident in P12. Mark Dillon Jr. put it on the hauler earlier, is in P13. And Cody Atkins went flying, literally flying off the track. He gets P14 in GTE, Byron.
Yep, your GT3 class, your race winner, first-time winner, Keith Roycroft, gets it home in the first spot. Tyler Vickery brings it home in a very respectable second. We'll find out what happened with him. Probably, like you said, a penalty, him not being very happy. Finishing 3rd would be Rex Hoyle. Zachary Nuremberger coming home in the 4th position, rounding out the top 5. Daniel Barnett. Dallas Sullivan coming home in the 6th spot. Lynn Kopp at 7th. Timothy Emmanuel at 8th. Dave Ferrara brings it home respectable 9th. Jeff Wyatt putting it on the hauler early. He comes home 10th. Paul Boyle at 11th. Atticus Middleton with 12th. Gary Schilling, Alan Dice, and rounding out the field, Mackenzie Johnson with a connection issue. Sympathies going out to your mom, Mackenzie. And it was great, leagues wearing the badge for you. Our condolences go out to your family. And shout out, we know you're going through it. And look forward to seeing you all next season.
Yeah, and we will be back next season. But before that, tomorrow night we'll be back with the TNT Truck Series, brought to you by Tickle Zombie. And then on Friday we're back with the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series, and that will do it for the week. But for myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, and from my broadcast partner Byron Rodney, we apologise for the technical issues here tonight. Big condolences going out to Mackenzie Johnson for the loss of his mum. All that's left me to say is keep it clean, keep it green. We'll catch you tomorrow night for more racing action. Have a good night.